Wow. Perfect. Wonderful. Wow. So today is 15th of April, my friends, and we have a lovely guest. So let me quickly share my screen and let me show you the lovely guest we have today. Yeah, so here it is. Setting up things. Okay. Okay. Can someone just confirm me that they can see my screen?
Yep, we can see it.
Perfect. Wow. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and good morning, good evening from wherever you're joining, my friends. Welcome to Microsoft Excel Power Platform Meetup, one place in finance solution where we connect, where we learn. I'm your friend Faraz Shaikh, host and host for today. And on today's hot seat, we have a lovely person I'm going to shortly introduce. But just quickly, let me tell you about myself. I'm Faraz Shaikh, a founder of excelexciting.com, Microsoft MVP, MCT, MIE, and Office Master, YouTuber, blogger. And my mission is to help the community by providing them the easiest solution. And the passion is to share the knowledge and gain the knowledge from everyone. And today we have the guest, lovely guest. I'm really proud, today, the youngest speaker on our meetup, 14 years old, Mr. Harshavardhan. And he's going to present creating your first report in Power BI server. So I'm really excited and really looking forward, what Harsh has in his bucket. And he's a high school student in New Zealand. So right now he's connecting from New Zealand and it's in late evening over there. It's like 10 in the evening over there in New Zealand. And this would be really great. And we all were looking forward to join Harsh presentation. So let me just take you to the next screen. So these are some of the past meetup which has taken place. If you'd like to just see the recording, you can always go and check the recording. And by the way, this session is also getting recorded and you can see it on YouTube/Excel Exciting, and you'll find Saudi Arabia meetup playlist over there. So you can go and see the meetups from there. So these are some of the past meetups which has taken place in 2020, and we have some more coming up in the line, and those are like for me, he is a speaker from Saudi Arabia, so he would be joining us on 17th of May, and he will be talking about discovering DAX fundamentals to common mistakes, what is there. So it would be really interesting also to see how can we avoid mistakes in DAX with this session. And as usual, I always invite the community, if you have your superhero skills, please write back to me on my email address, excelexciting@outlook.com. I'd be happy to hear from you, and we can schedule up an event and you can come and talk over here and share your knowledge to the community. And just a quick housekeeping, as usual, just make sure they have that better experience with the connectivity and to enjoy the experience with the speaker. Just make sure that you mute your mic, and if you have any issues, you can exit and join back again. Feel free to write your questions, just mention the queue, and the presenter will look later on, or he would just timely check during the chat. So, Harsh, welcome to Microsoft Saudi Arabia Power Platform Meetup. And I would like to give the floor to you. And please tell us about yourself. We would love to hear from you also, and then you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Faraz, for inviting me onto this meetup.
I'll stop sharing my screen. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
So, my name is Harshavardhan Tammina. I'm based in Auckland, New Zealand, and I'm a 14-year-old student going to Mount Albert Grammar School. I had my passion for technology since 2016 when I first got taught how to create games using Construct tool, and in 2017 I learned Power BI Desktop, and since then I've been building my skills on, such as Azure, WordPress, cPanel, etc. Here you can see my blog, my website, my email, GitHub, and Twitter. Feel free to reach out to me on these platforms. So today we're going to be learning how to create your first report in Power BI Report Builder for Report Server. So here is the agenda. So we already had the introduction. So we'll start off with what is Power BI? What is Power BI Report Server? How to configure Power BI Report Server on premises, which will include the demo, and how to create your first report in Power BI Desktop optimized for Report Server, which has a demo as well. So what is Power BI? I'm sure many of you guys know what Power BI is, but let's have a recap. Power BI is a data modeling software available on premises or in the cloud. Power BI Service is the cloud version, which you can publish your reports via Power BI Desktop. And Power BI On-Prem is also known as Power BI Report Server. You can create reports, interactive dashboards, view advanced analytics, and more using Power BI. Here are some use cases for Power BI. Some of the use cases are sales of financial reports, IT help desk integrated reports, such as integrating Cherwell help desk, Spiceworks help desk, etc. Inventory management, so that you can see how many devices are being used in the organization. Resource management, same thing, but different a bit. Server management, such as seeing how much usage has been used on a server and multiple servers, upload and downtime. And CRM integrations, such as HubSpot CRM, Dynamics 365, and Zoho CRM. And these are just some of them. There are many more use cases for Power BI. Does anyone have any questions so far? Well, let's move on to.
No, nothing, Ash. And just
Okay,
want to yeah.
Sure. So what is Power BI Report Server? Power BI Report Server is an on-premises version of Power BI Service. Organizations would or may choose Power BI Report Server over Power BI Service so that they have all rights of their confidential data as you host the instance yourself on your server, and it can be connected with Power BI Service as well. You can view all your reports in one web portal and manage KPIs. So you can see here that this is the web portal. So we'll jump into how to configure Power BI Report Server. So this is on the server side of Report Server. There will be a demo soon, but there are some requirements we should go through before. So these are the minimum requirements for Power BI Report Server. You need a net framework of 4.5, memory at least 4 gigs, memory at least recommended 4 gigs, and minimum is 1 gigs. Minimum 64-bit processor is 1.4 gigahertz, but recommended is 3.2 or faster. And the operating system can be used on either Windows Server 2019 Data Center Standard, 2016 Data Center Standard, Windows 10 Pro or Enterprise, and Windows 11. There are some extra requirements which you should take note of. but these are not compulsory. You must have both the server and the user device AD joined. So local Active Directories. You need that so you can connect the device, the user device, and the actual server. A VPN or direct access connection, so you can connect to the server instead of opening a port on the server, so it's not open to the internet. And if you want HTTPS, you can get SSL certificates by getting a self-signed certificate. So let's jump into the demo. Can you see my Power BI screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah. So this is Power BI desktop optimized for report server. So let's start off with configuring report server itself. If you just search up Power BI report server January 2022, as that's the latest one, you should get the second result. You would just click on download and choose the first one, as we're just installing report server at the moment. And then hit next and you'll get it downloaded. I've already downloaded it. So let's open up the installation. And do note you need SQL Server installed on the machine you're installing Power BI report server on. This is the home screen. If you have Power BI Premium or SQL Server Software Assurance, you can enter your product key in here. So it's activated with your license, but you can choose for evaluation 180-day trial or go for developer license. So we'll be going for developer license today. If you want, you can read through the terms and conditions and then accept them. And it says you would need an instance of SQL Server database engine. And I already have that installed. And it will install it automatically for you if you don't have it. We hit install. Windows user account control comes up and you just click yes. Wait for it to be installed.
Harsh, there's a question.
Okay.
Does any visualization or DAX not work as compared to desktop versus server report?
So report server is right now, we're just configuring the actual server side, but you can use DAX and custom visualizations on desktop version. So there's a separate version of Power BI desktop optimized for report server. And you can run both the normal version and the optimized for report server at the same time. So I'll be showing how to do that after we got report server configured.
There's another question.
Yeah.
If a dashboard made on a desktop version and want to upload it on the report server, then how to do it?
Okay, so you can do that from the portal. While that just installs, I'll show you an existing portal I have. So once report server has been configured, it will look something like this. This is the similar layer to SSRS, as Power BI report server was built on top of SSRS. And here you can just click upload and choose your Power BI file. And it should get you the report here, and I can show you guys a demo report I just uploaded like that, which was created in Power BI Desktop, not the normal one. Should load. Yeah, so this was published, created on Power BI Desktop, and you can just upload it to Power BI report server once that's all configured. So now if we go back into here, it says restart the computer. It's already been restarted, so let's configure the report server. So installing takes just a matter of minutes. And once that's done, you'll be popped up with the configuration manager. You can see here, Power BI report servers put in as PBIRS. And if you also have SSRS on it, you can put, it will be SSRS. You can have both SSRS and Power BI report server running at the same time. So first of all, we would need a service account so Power BI report server would actually work. And the virtual service account will be used. You just check virtual service account and then apply it. And every time you make new changes, the service stops and starts again. So you can see here the third one. The first one, it's stopping the server and it's starting it again. Does that so it refreshes the information we've just updated. Now we would need to configure the web service URL where the actual server is maintained. The default URL would be server name port 80/report server, and it's not case sensitive. So even though it's already been there automatic, you have to click apply. And once that's done, it will be restarting the server. And you can see it brought up the desktop name, the server name with the port 80 and the report server name, which is the service URL. We'd also want the IP address of the server. What you need to do is you need to go in advanced how to reset up the portal URL. So here you just need to click apply. Portal URL is the one where you actually access the web portal. So this is the portal URL. And you can choose it whatever you would like on the server. So port 80 is the default port for report server, but you can change it if you have other services running with port 80. So now that the URLs have been set up, you need to set up the database. If you already have an existing database, you can just choose that, but it is recommended to create a new one. So here you click change database here and create new report server database. Make sure the server name is correct. And if you have a SQL Server account, you can enter that, or just go with the default integrated security current user. And make sure you test the connection so that you don't run into issues in the future. So once that succeeds, you go next and enter the database server, the database name. And there would be also a temporary database name, which runs on top of the normal database. So as I used to have Power BI report server on this machine, I can't use the same name as it's not been deleted. So what I'll be doing is setting it to PBI report server, and you can see it automatically updates the temporary database name. And the service credentials is the usual one you would want to use for the database, unless you have a specific SQL Server or Windows credential for databases you use already. Then just make sure everything is correct and finish. Note all this process doesn't even take that much time. It's pretty quick. And here you can see the name of the database and the service account which were created. And always make sure you restart the service after you've made major changes. So far, any questions?
Yeah, I can see over here, they're asking how to restart it, the service.
Okay, yep. So to restart it, you can either do it from services or you can do it in the report server configuration. I'll just load that. So here in the home of the configuration manager, you can see stop and start. As it's already started, start is grayed out. But if you click stop, it stops. And then once you click start, it starts. And then even though it says it started, it takes 1 to 2 minutes to fully have all the portal and everything turned on. So it's accessible. I'll show you the other way. So if you go to run services.msc, you can also type up services in the search. You'll be greeted with the services portal, services file system. And then if you scroll down to P for Power BI, Power BI report server, you can see that. Restart the service, or you can stop it fully. That's depending on how you want the server. You can do it from here, or if this is unresponsive, you can do it from here as well. So now if we go back to here, to the report server configuration manager, you can see you would always want to choose the IP address. And then you have the option to click advanced. It's recommended you add all assigned so that it pulls the server name. In my example, it would be desktop-A9KRFOM, and port 8 is the default port, and you can change it as mentioned. As that's already there, go for all unassigned. You can also add HTTPS. So the way HTTPS works is you need a self-signed certificate, and I usually prefer getting it from Windows IIS Manager, Internet Information Services. So do note this is not installed on a normal Windows 10 machine or Windows 11. You need to install it manually from features. Turn on Windows features on and off. And here you would need to check on IIS, Internet Information Services. But if you're using Windows Server, they have it built in. So server certificates, you can see this is the one I've created earlier. You can create a self-signed certificate. Just choose a name. You can choose a web hosting or personal. You can see it automatically created it. But now if we go back into here, you can choose test, but we don't want to use a test one. We want to use Power BI report server. And the default HTTPS port is 443, and you can change that if you want. Once that's done, you click OK. And that's for the web service URL. You have to do the same with web portal URL. So you can see here HTTP and HTTPS, both non-secure and SSLs both there. We'd also want to add the IP address if you would like to connect via that. So yeah, this is my local IP address. I add that and click OK. And once again, it will restart the service. And web portal URLs, one of the main ones as well, alongside web service, as portal is the one which manages how we log in on the web and view the reports. And yes, as Christian mentioned on the chat, every update of Power BI report server comes with its own version. So yeah, this is the Jan 2022 version of report server installed, and I have the 2022 version of Power BI desktop. And yes, it is a bit behind on the features compared to the normal version of Power BI desktop, but they do update this on every 6 months around that term of period. So we want to do the same with web portal. And if you want to use your custom domain, so for example, Microsoft.com, if you want something like that as your server URL, you can do that and have DNS pointing to the server. But we'll just stick with using IP address. We want to use HTTPS. We can use the same certificate for both of them. Click OK. So you can see there might have been some issues, which could have been the certificate or something from the previous installation which was left over. So as it's not something major, it overrided the issue, as it doesn't have an X and it says overridden. But it's all done. You can set up SMTP for your emails to go through from the server whenever a refresh happens for a report. And you can configure that in your Office 365 tenant or whatever email server you use. So sender address SMTP server and how you have your SMTP configured. And as we've looked like we made changes, but we didn't, you can just click OK. Execution account is not required, but it's account for data sources if they're using a remote server for data source. And encryption keys are for when you have data in the database and you're migrating the server, you will always want to back up the key, as whenever you change the database, a new key generates. And you just click backup, and then on the new server, you restore. And to restore the database itself, you have to use SSMS for the SQL Server. Subscription settings are for the file share if you use file sharing in your organization. Scale out development is if you have multiple servers you use for report servers and SSRS, you can join them together. So I only have one instance on this machine, so there's only one here and it's joined. And lastly, you can see Power BI service, which is a cloud version. You can use a normal and the optimized for report server to publish it. And it's a hybrid cloud feature across the two. So if you publish reports to the server, you can see it says it does not publish the service. And you can register with Power BI, but it's optional. Faraz, do we have any questions here?
No, nothing, no so far.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So that's Power BI report server side is configured, and we can now test by going to the URL. You may notice it says not secure. You can ignore that. But here you go, you're in the home directory. And as usual, you'd want to create a folder. So let's create a demo folder. Should load. There you go, you can see the demo folder. If you want to customize the logo, the name of the tab, for example, it says Power BI report, so you can put it as your company name, change the actual logo in the favicon, change the colors of Power BI report server all through the branding. So the brand package is the same as how you would create it for SSRS. It's the same XML codes. We won't be looking into that in too much detail, but you can change the name of the report server here. I'll just go. If you apply it, it will automatically update. Here you can create new schedules for reports. So once you uploaded your report, you can do that here. And lastly, you can add admins. So if you have multiple admins or accounts you want to have roles, you can just click add users, a system user, so a normal user, or system admin who manages the actual server. You would have noticed the download section here. So here you can download Power BI Desktop, which is optimized for report server, Power BI Mobile, so the app on mobile, Power BI Mobile Report Publisher, and Report Builder. So Report Builder is built on top of Visual Studio Code, and that's also the same for SSRS. So now that we have report server configured, let's have a look at Power BI Desktop. So let's just have a recap of what we've done so far. So far we've created and configured the report server, set up the URLs, SSL, and the web portal. Now we will move on to how to create your first report in Power BI Desktop Optimized for Report Server. So we'll be using the AdventureWorks sales database from Microsoft for this demo. I'll share back my Power BI Desktop screen. So you can, once you want to download Power BI desktop for report builder, you can just click download and Power BI desktop, or you can search up Power back to the URL we were on before when we first downloaded Power BI desktop report server underscore 64-bit. And once you've downloaded and installed everything, it will look somewhat like this. And you know it's the report server optimized version because it says when it was released, the date, the month, and the year. And also you can see under file, Power BI report server. Let's have a look in the data of AdventureWorks sales. So AdventureWorks is a company which creates bicycles. It's not an actual company, but it's what Microsoft uses for sample data. And this is one of the sales database, which you can get off Microsoft's website, or you can either get it from Power BI desktop here, try a sample database. Here are just some information about the order of the sales, whereabouts the sales came through. So there's a key if you want to connect keys, the region, country, and the continent here. And the last one's corporate headquarters. Here you can see the actual data of when it was purchased and what was purchased and the cost. So here's just some results. This is the reseller data. So pretend that is your AdventureWorks has a reseller program, and these are all the reseller data who are reselling the products. So the reseller name, for example, Sharp Bikes is based in Toronto, Canada, and the postal code. It also shows the business type. So for example, this is a specialty in bike shop, and there are some warehouses as well. Each of them have a reseller ID and a reseller key. You can see the date data for the physical year, and it goes from 2017 to 2021, May 31st. And then you can see the actual product data. So what the product is and the product key. So the product key 210 links to the sales data when someone purchased it here. Then you have the customers who bought something, the products. So if we check customer key Elizabeth Johnson in the sales data, it should come up here. Yep. And that will only show the data for that customer from the reseller. Sorry about that, Excel is not responding. Let's put that aside and hop into Power BI desktop itself. So as usual, you would just use a normal way of getting in data. There are a couple more data sources in Power BI desktop report server. You can see there's the normal usual ones you get. And there's a couple of beta. So here are some of the integration apps I said you can use. The dynamic Chervil, BI connector, Amazon, Snowflake. These are all what you can use. But today we'll be using the Excel spreadsheet, which we just had a look at. So this file can be on a file server. So for example, I have a file share of Z drive, but that's not connected at the moment. And usually that's how organizations would have the data on a shared drive and employees can directly access it from there. But for this demo, it will be on our local machine. Just like normal Power BI desktop, you just get in the tables and the sheets. Just select all of them here. So let's have a look at the preview of table. Here we go. So this is the customer keys we saw earlier. You can transform your data so that will open query editor, or you can load it directly without making any changes at the moment. So let's just load it. While that loads, you can see that here, the visualizations are all the normal ones. You can see Power Apps and those ones are not there, and that's because the feature hasn't been released for Power BI desktop for report server. And here you can, we can't click them at the moment as the query is processing. But any questions for us? Can't see any in the chat.
No, no questions so far.
Okay, yeah. And you can still see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, great. So you can see that the data isn't loaded. So this is all the normal steps you do in Power BI desktop when you're publishing to service. As this file is, the start database is a large one, it does take time, like in real life example. So we'll just wait for that to be completed. Most of them have been loaded. And we know it's loaded because this is showing it's loading something. So let's just wait for this to go away and we get the data in the field section. While that loads, I'll open up
There's a question
the
which I can
oh
see
yeah.
over here. The question is asking like this report server which is there, to download it, is it a different place or they can download it from Microsoft Store?
So you can't download this version from Microsoft Store. You have to download it from Microsoft's website or your web portal. So if you just search up Microsoft Power BI report server January 2022 or whichever version you want, then click download. It should be this one if it's 64-bit, or if it's 32-bit, you'll choose the second one. Or you can just see here on the downloads, you can see Power BI desktop. So either way, it will take you to the same page. This one. So that's one downside of Power BI desktop optimized for report server. You can't get it from the store itself. Let's go back into here. Seems like Power BI is not loading. I'll open this one. Sorry about that.
No problem. It happens.
Yeah,
When you're into demo, because you have a lot of resources open when you're doing the demo. So as expected.
yeah. Just quit Power BI. So let's end it. So this is a report I've just built a while ago with using the same data. You can see the data has all been imported, and we can see it's imported by going into the data view. So here the data is all there, which is the one we just saw in Excel. There are 18,000 rows. You can also see the relationships in the data, how they're all connected. So if we take a look at the sales order, you can see the sales order line key is connected to the sales table. And this just connected. So here, as someone asked about DAX, we can enter DAX here if you'd like. So Power Query Editor, here's the DAX. So the DAX would still be the same format for Power BI report server as well. You see all the data here. Just close that. So a few things you should notice is under File, there is open, the top one is Open Report from Power BI Report Server or Browse from your local machine. And when you click Save, it just saves on the local machine unless you open it from the report server. But if you click Save As, then you can see the report server. And Publish is publishing to Power BI service. So you can log in here. That's just a normal way you publish it. So now let's start creating the report. So over here, you can see I've just built something basic. So let's create something in the new page. You can get visuals from file, import it, or get it from the marketplace. So not all the new visuals are up to date, but most of them are from Power BI Desktop. So as there's a country section, let's get a map. And instead of signing into ArcGIS, I can just drop location of the country. You can see this is not the usual layout which was in back in 2020 or earlier. It has been updated in the recent few years. You can see where it's highlighted for the countries which AdventureWorks operates in. They operate in a couple of different countries. So you can connect KPIs over here, normal card visuals, basic Power BI map, just the basic visualizations you can get from here. So let's get a pie chart. Choose the business type as the values. So I meant the details. So in the, you can see that there's 238 value added resellers. Once you click on it, you can see the map updates. Will show how many are in that country. Let's get a card visual to show the standard cost of a product. So that's overall all the products included of each, and then get a slicer in with the products. Once you select the product, it will show the standard the cost in dollars. You can get another graph to show us how many products have been bought from the country. Let's get a stacked column chart. So building the report is just as normal as you'd build in Power BI desktop. So we would want the product key, the top. Product key, and then by the order quantity. I drag. Let's add something else, and I can't drag that. The product key with its unit price. Let's see the product key of 8827, the unit price of $4.99. So let's say that pretend this has been completely finished and this is how your team wants their report. So you can either publish that to Power BI service or publish that to Power BI report server. So here, let's think there's no recent servers there, and you would put in the web portal URL you got over here. So it can be either one of those. I'm going to go for the HTTPS one. So you type that out. Usually the port number isn't required if you're on the same network, but I'll just put it in there for now. And the example shows you the report server /reports. That's the default name. Yeah, that's not YouTube. Let's go with HTTP, as there might be an issue with the SSL. There we go. So HTTP worked. You can see the demo folder. You can change the name of the file we want to upload it in report server. And click OK. So then that's saving it to the Power BI report server. It usually takes a while depending on the database and the report. So once that's completed, it'll say success, and you can click take me there, which will take you to the report server portal. And if you're not logged in, it will ask you to log in. So you can see my name here. It will just be your account name. So you can't edit the actual report in Power BI report server in the web portal, but you can view it and interact with it. So here, United States had a price of 298.19K. And this is how much sales it got for bikes. And there are some specific requirements for ArcGIS for Power BI Visual. So that's why you can see it says it doesn't meet the requirements. And here, this is what we just built now. So if we get that issue and you don't know what to do, you can change that to the other map. But yeah, here, everything's sorted. You can print the page if you want to view it on paper, and view it, change the view size. And you can edit in Power BI Desktop. So here, if you want to edit it, just click that and open, and it'll open the report in Power BI Desktop report server. And if for any chance the upload didn't work when you were publishing it to report server, you can manually upload a file from, you just go into browse and choose the folder you want to upload that into. Just click upload and choose the file. So while that loads, I'll get another report. So yeah, it loaded the Power BI file in directly through Power BI Desktop. So now that we have that, I'll close one of them. We have two of the same files open. I'll click sign in. That's the signing into the web service, the service, Power BI service. I'll just enter my username. Power BI Pro is recommended. The minimum base requirement is Power BI Pro is recommended, but Premium is the best one for service and the on-prem version. So now you can see I'm logged in, has my email address. And now if I wanted to publish, I can publish to service, but once I reopen Power BI, as you can see, publish is grayed out. If I close and open that again, Any questions yet, Faraz?
No, nothing. This I had a question. Like,
Okay.
if you have signed into your account, and then if you have hit the publish, then it goes and directly go and publish it to your the portal,
Service.
right? Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
it should, but as I've already published it to report server, it's
Okay,
not possible to publish it to service at the same time.
okay, got
Yep,
it.
so that's why I'm restarting Power BI
Okay,
and then I'll do that.
got it, got it. Okay.
Yeah. So if we open it from our local machine instead of the actual report server, you can see as it says report server in the URL. This one's local. And now you can see the publish option is not grayed out. You click publish, you can choose the workspace you're submitting it to. Just choose that one and it'll publish to service. Now that's done, I'll open it to show you guys in Power BI service. Need to sign in. So here you can see test adventure work sales. It was data updated last was on the 16th because that's the time, the date here in New Zealand. And after we've accepted the terms for ArcGIS maps, it shows up. And here you can edit the file. And once you've edited it, you can download it and open it in Power BI desktop again. You can see Power Apps for Power BI, Power Automate. But if you use those and open that in Power BI reports desktop for report server, it won't show up as it's not in the latest version yet. You can share this with teams and all that. But here the normal download gives you Power BI desktop, not Power BI desktop optimized for report server, and paginated report builder. Power BI report server can be integrated for paginated report builder, but we won't look into that now. Let's check the refresh schedule. So here we can set up schedules for refreshing the data. We can choose it to be hourly and how many hours you want it to be on start time, daily on how many days you want it to be, weekly, monthly, or once. I'll be choosing once for now. And if I click apply, it says SQL Server agent is not running. So we need to start there. will be under SQL. So yeah, agent's not running. And if we start that service, as agent is required to start and manage schedules. If we hit apply again, it works now. We'll be using my personal account. And it should run in 2 minutes. So in the report, while we wait for that, report server configuration manager, we can connect it to Power BI service itself. So register with Power BI does the same thing, but without using the desktop version. Yep, so I'm getting an error because it's been registered with another instance of report server already. Thus, it's not working. I have a report which I'll show how to upload into the web portal. I'll just open that. Can you see my Edge browser?
Yeah, Harsh, we can.
Okay, yeah. So this is a report I've published into a report service a while ago. So I'll download that file as a PBIX file. So while we wait for that, I'll show the so the schedule has been finished as it's 12:15 now, 12:16, and we ran it at 12:15. You can see that it's last run and the shares is expired because we only said to run once. If we hit edit, we can change it to run again. We check in here. Everything, if we change something, it will update it in the portal. We go into the demo folder and the file. You can see the last updated data. Yeah, so that refresh has been completed and we can see it has in settings on the schedules. I'll just get a report we can upload.
So basically, after every refresh, Harsh, it goes and changes status to as an expired. And if you
Well,
have,
so it wouldn't be every time. It will be expired as we've set it so that it only runs once.
okay,
It expires. But if we set it to hour or something else, it will change to another status. So like complete or waiting for the next one, pending. Depends on how many times we set it to schedule the refresh.
mhm.
Yeah.
So at the last refresh, whenever the last refresh happens, it's changed the status as an expired.
Yes, because it's finished.
Otherwise, it will show you the next run when it is going to happen.
Yep, the next run will show the time and will say pending. And yep, every report can also have their dedicated refresh schedule. But for now, we just set it so it runs for all the reports.
Yeah.
But there's only one, so it shouldn't matter. So I've got a file which I'll be uploading to the portal. Just share screen. Can you see my Edge browser in Power BI service?
Yes, we can see, Harsh.
Yep. Good.
So right now you're using Palace, right, to present it on Windows.
No, I have a Windows laptop
Okay,
and I'm just remote desktoping into that.
great.
Yeah. And this username and password would be your Windows joined AD, but at the moment I have just normal Windows account. Yes, as Christian says, it can also be done manually by clicking refresh. So, don't think I got the right admin settings. Just give myself system admin here. Yeah. That would be something that you have to change every time you set up a new account. Once you've installed it, you'll get an error. But that it should work after a while. You can see the subscriptions. Might be better to show in here. Okay, so there aren't any. But here we can upload the downloaded file I just downloaded. Just get that from here. This one here, the departure board. So that's a Power BI file I created a couple years ago. And this is using normal Power BI desktop, not optimized for report server. It was built with Excel data source. And this, you can see it works perfectly fine in report server. You can edit with optimized for report server desktop as well. And as mentioned earlier, you can have both report server Power BI desktop and the normal Power BI desktop running at the same time to open multiple reports. So as this is on the report server, the publish is grayed out. If it was on the local machine, then it would be available for us to publish to Power BI service. And if we make any changes here, and save that, it should save it in the report server itself. So now if you go back into here, refresh that. Should update. Unless we need to publish it. There we go. Once we refresh the tab, it says departures test. So that's all that I have to show in the demo. I'll just show the branding. So you can choose a branding package. There's an amazing Excel spreadsheet created by a YouTuber, which you can find on the web. So you just input your logo, the colors you want as a hex number, and it automatically creates the zip for the brand package, and you can upload it. It'll update everything for you. You can use your existing SSRS brand package for Power BI report server as well. And you can use the same database which we've created in here. But other than that, let's move on to the PowerPoint. So does anyone have any questions?
I'm just checking the chat.
Yeah.
And
Feel free to ask now.
so for no questions, I think people have answered. Some of them Christian has taken care. Thank you, Christian.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If there aren't any, I think we can wrap up. I'll just put the ending slide.
Have you changed slide?
Yeah, just a minute. It's loading.
Okay.
Yep, just updating a link.
Those are really something really cool stuff. Harsh, I really need you to come and sit in New Zealand with you and learn some great stuff on Power BI service reports. I'm not that great in the service report, but now I can come to New Zealand. And if somebody's there in New Zealand and they're watching this video, you can definitely catch up Harsh, and he'll be shortly putting all his contact info. And
Yep, so
here is it.
you can reach out.
the Superman of Power BI, I would call him now, from now onwards. Lovely, Harsh. This was,
So you can connect to me on LinkedIn or reach out to me via email. And I'd like to thank Faraz for giving me this opportunity today.
it's
Thank
my
you for that,
pleasure.
Faraz.
It's my pleasure, Harsh. And uh, in fact, I'm really proud, having such a lovely, talented guy in the community who is just 14 years old, and he's so much enthusiasm and your passion towards this technology. I'm really happy, and I'm really grateful that you're here coming and presenting it. And it's a great feeling for me. I really I'm really proud of you, Harsh, and your presentation was excellent.
Thank
There
you.
are new things which I learned in this process of server report. I have never touched over there that part of the Power BI service report. So it was really excellent, Harsh.
Thank you, Faraz.
Hope to
And
see
thank
you
you,
in some
Christian
more
and
sessions,
Ulga.
and we hope to see you in some more sessions in the
Yeah,
community. And it would be really lovely, Harsh.
sure. Yeah. I will be sharing all the resources, including the PowerPoint and Power BI file to Faraz so he can share it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I'll be keeping that in the video link description. So please give me some time so I can just get that information and I
yeah.
can paste it over there, and then you guys can grab it from there. So lovely, lovely, Harsh. It was really lovely. And it's an evening and it's an afternoon over here in Saudi Arabia. So wow, lovely time zones. And we have lovely guy, super Power BI Superman over here with us. And wow, what a lovely evening. It's a month of Ramzan over here happening in Saudi Arabia, and it's all over the places, Ramzan. So I want to wish everybody Ramzan Kareem, and those who are fasting, may uh, God accept your prayers, and to all my friends. So last but not the least, make sure that you join the next meetup, which is going to happen, where the presenter from Saudi Arabia, Fawzi, will be coming and presenting about tax, as I mentioned. And as usual, Harsh, it has become, I would say, a culture in my meetup group that whoever the speaker is coming, at the end of the session, I always ask him to give a quote or any message or anything, and then I end my live streaming on the YouTube. So Harsh, please give us some kind of a message or any kind of a quote from this young superhero, Power BI Superman.
It's never too late to start learning new things. And it's good if you start young, but it doesn't matter if you start late as well.
Wow, lovely. Okay, friends, signing off from the YouTube. We are still having on the Zoom, so the party is still on the Zoom. So make sure that you go and follow Harsh. I'll be seeing you soon in the next meetup. Till then, take care. Bye.
Right.
Right.